Today, we'll be talking about something superbly interesting, something that's impacting every single education institution across the world. This does not have a geographic identity, it does not have a demographic indicator, it's there everywhere. Every single country on the face of this earth is facing a major educator
Morning.
acquisition.
Thank you very much for the invite, and it's very good to be here with all these distinguished guests. Very interesting topic that you're sharing today, and I think it's a topic that's a touching topic for everybody. Every school leader, I think, in these days struggle with this. And you know, if you think about public schools and international schools and private education, you would think that this situation only affects public schools. But if you look at private education and private schools, they struggle with this, and sometimes and in some places even more than in public schools. So definitely a challenge that we're facing here. And I believe, you know, you can look at the different research projects that's been implemented with regards to this topic, and they would tell you three main things. They would tell you three main things, all of them. They would say pay. Some teachers struggle with pay. They want more money. Other teachers struggle with student behavior and classroom management. That would be the second thing. Disillusionment with some young teachers coming into the world of teaching. But to me, the most important thing that stood out when I really looked at this research is the fact that leadership support cuts retention with 5 times, despite the challenges with regards to salaries, the challenges with regards to student management and classroom management. It is being proven that leadership development, teachers feeling heard, teachers feeling supported, cuts retention. It really helps in terms of losing those teachers. And the numbers are staggering. We're looking at 50%. That's what the numbers say. 50% of teachers that enter the world of teaching leave within the next 5 years. It's a shocking number. Another shocking number is that about head teachers and principals, if they leave the profession at the age of 55, they've got a life expectancy of 20 years after that. If they leave at 65, they've got a life expectancy of 10 years. If they leave, 60. If they leave at 65, they've got a life expectancy of 5 years. That's what the numbers say. It's shocking. It's shocking. We have to ask ourselves why. And I think the question of leadership support and supporting our teachers is more than ever important in this day and age. So for me, that's what stood out. So yes, the three things, it's ever present: money, salaries, student behavior, teacher voice. But I think what has to be focused on here is definitely leadership support, because it's been proven to make a difference. Thank you very much.
So Katua, it's wonderful to be here, and like Basil, wonderful to be with all of these esteemed colleagues around us. I think the conversation that we're having today is such an important conversation because we work in a sector, in an industry where we're all defined by purpose. We are committed to what we do. We are proud of what we do in our classrooms with our young people, and we all believe in the value of education. And so we pour our hearts and our time and our energy into the young people that we work with. But I think we do have to ask whether that work that we do and our teachers do in our communities is sustainable. I think there's been increasing pressure over time. Our profession is being stretched beyond the limits of what is humanly capable as an individual. And the work expectations, or the workload expectations on our teachers, are continuing to exceed consistently. I know that there is research that shows that on average, the medium working hours, during term time for teachers is 50 hours. I think that's probably almost an underestimate. And if we take in the holiday times, that would average out, it'll be a median of 47 hours per week. It's not a profession that you can pack up at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock and go home and not think about. And it's not a profession that you can't prepare for because your young people are in front of you the next day. Those changing expectations come from behavioural changes, as Basil mentioned, but I think also demands for increased inclusion strategies. There are challenges for educators because there's limited flexibility in the sector. When our children are in school and class, we need to be as well. There's transparency demands from parents. Our Gen Y parents are asking for more. They have different engagement needs. And we also have challenges around career pathways for teachers. So I guess the question is, how do our teachers plan and respond and support and engage with families, and how do they grow professionally in the time that they have? And I think as school communities globally, we might be mistaking the fact that our teachers aren't committed for the fact that they don't have the capacity to be able to do everything that's being asked from them. And teachers not staying in the profession really for us is a systemic risk. It's a systemic risk of the continuity of learning in our schools. It's a risk of leadership pipelines disappearing. It's a risk for institutional knowledge, and it's a risk on our student learning outcomes. So I think we have to flip our model. So we aren't just focused on recruitment, we're focused on retention and progression for our staff. And we're asking ourselves questions as leaders in schools related to what we can do. How can we create systemic change in our own contexts? And I think I'd like to challenge our listeners to look at how do we go beyond fixing people, offering well-being benefits, having yoga classes, looking at time management strategies, and how do we really get under the hood and look at the way we're working? How do we look at designing our workplace so that we can alleviate the pressures that sit there for our educators?
Thank you so much, Daksh, and it's indeed a privilege and a pleasure. I feel really honored to be a part of this conversation. And I come from a background of psychology. So I would like to also draw attention to another aspect of what teaching is all about. I've been very passionate as a teacher, and I worked in the corporate sector. And what I have always found my calling is after I came into teaching. Why teachers have to be passionate is, one, the benefit that we have is we are dealing with children, and we always tend to stay young, and we always tend to be, around the kids, give us a lot of happiness. So the challenges that have been already talked about, I would not like to repeat them because they are the common challenges that all of us face. But it is the burnout that the teachers experience. That if is taken care of, because what Daksh rightly said, that we never kind of switch off from work never ends. And after post-COVID, when we have the advent of AI and these WhatsApp groups where it is expected that instantly you need to respond to a call from the parent or an expectation from an email which has been addressed, that is basically a major issue. So the other issue about the apart from the burnout is also, are we as educators encouraging our children to become a teacher? How many students or how many children are aspiring to be a teacher? And that itself is a very, very important question. If the salary aspect in proportion to the amount and the kind of work that the teachers do, because they are making all kind of professions. They are the ones who are transforming and being a part of the child's growing up. That is such an influential role. And if we do not have these youth aspiring to become future teachers, there is a great risk involved here. And therefore, the mental health and well-being of students are taken care by the teachers. But we need to show some empathy for the teachers as well. And we need to create a school culture where the teacher feels respected, valued, heard, and has the autonomy to work. Because there are a lot of all these policies where the teachers have a list of things of what she's not supposed to do, and we go towards a defensive side, and we want to protect ourselves with all the policies that are there. So Having said that, I see a lot of future scope if we work on these aspects, because we talk about having happy classrooms or joyful classrooms, and for that we need to have happy teachers. That's the only way we are going to achieve. And parents need to partner with the school and collaborate in their responsibility. They cannot view as the customers and schools as service providers. Their responsibility collaboratively will make us achieve this goal. And then there will be people who will, our young children who will aspire to become the future teachers. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for inviting me to this wonderful event. And I would go back to the first speaker, who was Mr. Basil, if I'm not wrong, who wonderfully introduced the topic bioresearch. In fact, when I saw the topic, you should know that this was the topic of my thesis. So migration of teachers in private international schools, okay? So I had a research, I had 50 respondents from all over the world, all continents, and both public and private schools. And the findings were, wow, shocking. The first factor, teachers are quitting, is poor management. Okay, so the way they are treated by the principals, by the managers. I witnessed an episode, I will not say where, but I saw a manager who threw a tissue box at an employer. The next day, the teacher quit, and many others did, okay? So teachers do deserve to be treated respectfully. Their dignity is above everything, okay? Because the moment the teachers are not respected in an institution, then it will be reflected in the quality of their teaching. Parents will see, and especially those moments when a teacher is addressed publicly in school in front of everybody is totally unprofessional. Another factor would be lack of resources. We know that teachers will struggle. I know it's very important. It's not important to have resources, but to be resourceful. But at a point, it comes when the teachers do need resources, digital resources, sometimes hands-on activities, because the quality of their lessons will depend on that. And here comes the third factor, which is closely related to the lack of resources, because if a school does not provide resources, that school is struggling with the payment. Okay, so there are two aspects here. The payment is either very low, or if it's quite decent, then it is late. So being paid late, at the end of the day, everybody has commitments, and it's important to be paid on time and to look for quite a decent payment. A reason why the first speaker, Mr. Basil, said after 5 years, the research say 4.5, 5 years, teachers will leave and will look for better paid job, because now they accumulated the experience necessary for such a position. So to draw a conclusion, this will be as a holistic approach, because they are all related. I would say poor management, lack of resources, and poor payment. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. It's really wonderful to join and to listen to such good conversations about teachers and being a teacher for the past 3 decades right now as a principal, talking with my other colleagues. It was really interesting to know from Kim, Garima, and obviously Dr. Mirilla. That was wonderful listening to all of you. So taking the conversation ahead, I think most of the points have been covered by respectful speakers. But I just want to highlight a few points here, speaking as a teacher from my point of view, because the last 3 decades, what I saw, I was a teacher myself in the from starting period of time. But then what became very, very crucial, why this teacher crisis? So today the topic which has been taken is very close to every teacher's heart, and everyone needs to voice out, but they are somewhere holding themselves back. So I, as a teacher, when I entered this profession with a passion, it was my passion of shaping the young minds and making a positive difference in the students' life. That was the positive impact which I had, the vibrations when I joined this profession. So teaching for me became more than a job. It is just a commitment to nurturing the future generations. But nowadays, which I feel that they are all leaving this profession, they keep it as the last option, not because they have lost the love for teaching, but only because of the challenges which have become overwhelming. So mainly the challenges which is felt with every teacher has to wear many hats nowadays. So in the classroom, the challenges are so much as an educator, a mentor, a counselor, a motivator, and an administrator, and sometimes even as a parent figure. So that is where a teacher right now is heading. So teaching is rewarding, but the responsibilities which a teacher has to face is really exhausting. And that is why this crisis has been elaborated. So obviously, we know that the lack of recognition, which ma'am had already spoken. So we need to always give a pat on the teacher's back once they have achieved their target. Suppose the results have been declared. Why isn't a teacher being brought forward? Because it was the teacher's guidance that the child has made such good results, remarkable results. Of course, the child's own usage was also there. But what I want to say is that why isn't a teacher being brought forward? Why isn't a teacher being appreciated? Why isn't they given this recognition? So this is very important. Then as a result, their motivation in life gets completely imbalanced. So they feel that that this profession is not theirs. They are spending evenings, they are doing homeworks at home, checking notebooks, preparing teaching materials, teaching aids, maintaining a healthy work life balance, which becomes this work life imbalance has created a lot of problem for teachers. So despite of these challenges, there is immense joy which the teacher wants. So they keep on taking it only just with one word coming from the students or coming from the management when they are just in appreciation with the teacher, that gives them a
Hello,
boost.
everyone. It's been a great opportunity inviting myself here to this great talk of educators. So the most important thing for me is the overwhelming pressure that the teacher faces during his daily life. Because due to the students' behavior and discipline right now, we face a great problem in respecting the idea of the teacher inside the class. So instead of focusing on the materials that he will work on, the delivery, the amount of knowledge and experience that the students will face inside the class, he's all about the class management due to the discipline and behavior of the students. So he got out of each class like dying out of effort because of that. I think the main reason behind that is that the parents feel that they did what they should do by whether paying the fees of the school or whether just sending the kids to the school, while actually the school will never replace the place of the parents. So you have to rate them well, you have to follow up with the schools, you have to work on their soft skills, work on their self-esteem and the appreciation of life and why you are in life as parents. So you will never ever be able to replace your place as a parent. You have to respect that. You have to respect that I not only have your kid inside the class, I have more than maybe 20, maybe 30, in some schools, maybe 50 students inside the class. So you have to respect that. So this is the main reason. The second reason is the prestige, because at the end of the day, when you tell someone that I'm a judge, I'm a lawyer, I'm an international engineer, so they got like the wow effect on their face, like, wow, you did something good. While if you told someone that you are a teacher, they say like, who are you? So we have to aware people that the teacher is not just a profession, it's not just a job, it's something prestigious, because I'm building a personality and a value of a person. He will be a leader in the future. He will be the leader of himself and leader of the people around him. Third thing is the right of the teacher to be trained and to be respected in his own school, like the culture itself inside the school, how it's supportive, how it's happy, how it's good, how it respects the personal life of this teacher. So why we don't have these programs to train the teachers on technology, like how to use technology to decrease your overwhelming tasks? So I think these are the reasons, like we have to think about the rights of the teachers more, to make them more happy, maybe. Thank you
very much for letting me join this esteemed group and this opportunity to answer this question. I think it's a critical one, and I've sort of adapted my talking points here based on my colleagues' responses, just because I think what we're looking at is a multifaceted issue that requires a lot of thought. I've been in education for 24 years, 18 of which I've been a school leader of various forms, and even an international stint in the Middle East for a period of time. But the majority of my career has been in the United States, and I think we see that many of the same issues affecting teacher quality, leadership quality, that is affecting education as a whole, to the point that we're seeing the devaluation of public education as a whole, and we're seeing where our programs at our universities, teacher prep programs, are declining to the point that they're being closed. We're seeing many challenges of filling roles, and I think this is something that is going to require a multifaceted solution for. And I think that's one of the things I thought, since a lot of our folks have mentioned sort of the issues, I think this is going to require a great deal of people coming together at the local, at the district level or state level, or whatever type of region you have, regional level, as well as the national level. And I think one of the examples we've seen in more recent times that has done a better job in trying to accomplish some of this elements is the Finnish system, where they've really created a different format and value for education. Now, I did see an increased value in education within the Middle East over what I saw in the US. We see a lot of school choice options that are occurring here where there's no accountability essentially in the state I'm in, where here in public education we have all kinds of accountability standards and expectations placed on us, to the point that we are really cannot get staff, whether it's leadership positions or teaching positions. And I think both go hand in hand, because we talked about the role and importance of supporting teachers, and that comes predominantly from the principal at the school level, and we cannot do that well with some of the policies that we have in place. So we need to really think about crafting quality policies, because we have a lot of policies that teach all teachers the same, whether they're merit and quality is the same or not. And so I think we have some issues in that regard. I think there's a lot of pieces of this that are going to be challenging to overcome, because we have to have the will from multiple levels working together to come to a seamless solution. And I think that's one of the things that concerns me the greatest right now, especially with the rhetoric. And for those that are familiar with the United States, the rhetoric around public education is very poor right now, and we're seeing declines at the national level, even at the state level. And so I think it's going to be important we as educators come together to try to really help spur this forward, because I don't think people understand its implications for society.
So good morning, all my panelists. Most discussion focuses on salary and workload. While these are important, I believe deeper reasons lie elsewhere. The role of a teacher has expanded dramatically over the past 2 decades. Traditionally, a teacher primarily responsible was to teach. Today, a teacher is expected to teach, assess, mentor, counsel, motivate, guide careers, manage technology, support mental health, address behavioral issues, communicate constantly with parents, and prepare suddenly for a rapidly changing world. Let us examine the mathematics. A teacher typically spends about 45 hours a week in school. Add lesson preparation, assessment, reporting, meetings, and digital communication, and the workload can easily exceed 55 hours per week. Yet the challenge is not only the number of hours worked, the challenge is number of roles performed. A family structure change and nuclear and single parent household becomes more common. Schools are increasingly expected to fill gaps once addressed at home. Teachers are asked to teach values, discipline, emotional resilience, and social responsibility. The rise of social media has created another layer of responsibility. Teachers are expected to help students navigate online risk, misinformation, cyberbullying, and digital addiction. Career guidance has also become a major expectation. Parents look to school for answers about artificial intelligence, emerging careers, and future skills. If a child appears unprepared for the future, the child is often held the school is often held accountable. In many developing societies, parents themselves may not have adequate exposure to changing technologies and career paths. Consequently, teachers becomes the interpreters of the future for both students and families. The result is predictable. Educators are experiencing increasing level of stress, emotional fatigue, professional exhaustion. Many feel they are carrying responsibility that extend far beyond teaching without a corresponding increase in time, support, autonomy, or recognition. Teachers are not leaving because they care less. Many are leaving because they care deeply, yet find it increasingly difficult to sustain the demands placed upon them. The teachers' crisis, therefore, is not simply a shortage of personals, it is a crisis of professional sustainability. Unless we address the reasons teachers leave, recruitment alone will never solve the problem. So, to conclude, educators are quitting not because teaching has lost its purpose, but because professions has become overloaded with responsibilities. Thank you.
I have a very specific perspective, I would say, although Daksh has invited us all to discuss on why are teachers quitting. I think we have to ask a counter question that why are teachers joining? Every year we recruit so many teachers, and teachers are getting into the profession knowing fully well how much this pays. So I am not so much in line with the people saying that they're quitting for money, because it is not for the money. It is because they are not getting the expected growth in their profession, right? When they're joining, they know pretty well that this is what is being offered to us. But in the years to come, they just feel that for what is expected out of them, the monetary remuneration is not proportional. Having said that, I would like to disagree with what Daksh also said, that the quality of institutions and the kind of money they make, he says, are inversely proportional. I strongly oppose that view, because I don't think we can generalize like that. Every school has its own business model, and that is how it is. Now, talking about why teachers are not continuing in their profession, I think besides the points made by all our esteemed speakers here, I would like to point out that teachers, they may come for the money, they may feel that this job is easier than others or whatever. The question is, are we giving them what they are expecting? We are only talking about what the school expects, what the parents expect, what the community expects, but what about the teachers' expectations? They are taking this job somewhere in the list of priorities that they are taking up this profession. I'm sure it is that they want to touch children's lives. Are we allowing them to do that is the question that I keep asking, because as everybody has already mentioned, today the teacher is doing everything else other than actually dedicate major portion of his or her time to teaching, right? We are expecting that they have to be parents, sometimes social workers, some event organizers. And in India, there have been so many changes in our educational system, NEP, NCF, like now we have CT and AI, which is computational thinking, and AI, we have Kaushal Bodh, which is skill education. If you miss out on checking the website for a week, you are just swamped with so much of paperwork. So we are only telling teachers, you give your report, you click photos, we need proof of that, we need documentation. So whether they taught or not, if they are able to collect proof that they taught, we are happy with that. So I think that is the critical question we have to ask, that are we allowing teachers to follow their passion? Are they allowed to actually work with children, for children? We are not allowing them, and we are eating away all their time thanks to technology, thanks to AI. We just invade their privacy. We say, even at 9 o'clock, we say, in another hour, I'm expecting you to send me this report. So I think that is another, a reason why teachers are no more feeling that why they took up this job. It is not happening. They just feel that they are ready to go all the way, but I don't think they are receiving the kind of support, resources, all of you told, but most importantly, recognition. I have parents who will come and say, ma'am, my son's English teacher has done that. When I ask, who is your son's English teacher? They don't know. The child also will say, English, ma'am. So even when we are in a system where teachers are not even recognized by their name, we are talking about bigger recognitions, which they certainly not are getting. We just love to say teaching is a noble profession, but they are not being recognized, valued by the society, by the community. I think some policies also have to change, but I think it is something that the managements can take care, because I come from a management where teachers are valued, and I know how people go to schools not for the pay, but for the happy environment that they have. Because at the end of the day, when a teacher sits down to write a journal, she should always go to bed with a smile on the face and say, I made a difference.
If teaching as a profession disappeared, what would AI learn from? Teachers currently create every future engineer, doctor, entrepreneur, scientist, politician, AI researcher, everyone. We have discounted the role of teacher to such an extent that prestige of teaching is completely, depreciated. So how do we want to build a future? Do we want prestige for a teacher? Do we want more money for the teacher? Do we want less workload for the teacher? What would you want in your institution? Share those thoughts with us. Thank you so much, everyone, for being a part of the Blub World Web Talks. This was the 297th episode.